Please rise in body or spirit and sing our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. I am Sarah Pickett, your celebrant today, and Janet Stevens from the Homilitics Guild is your speaker. Today, in case you weren't aware, is Mother's Day.
Yay.
A time to celebrate those who have nurtured us in our lives, be they biologically connected to us or we have found them along our path. In the United States, the official Mother's Day holiday came about as a result of the efforts of Anna Jarvis, following her mother's 1905 death. But the origin of Mother's Day itself go back a little further, to 1870, when Julia Ward Howe, and best remembered as the poet who wrote Battle Hymn of the Republic, worked to establish a Mother's Peace Day. Howe dedicated the celebration to the eradication of war. In the name of womanhood and of humanity, I earnestly ask that a General Congress of women without limit of nationality may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objects, to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, and the great and general interests of peace. May we foster and promote peace in our actions as we say our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world.
From the fire of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sends our minds and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
All right, I'd like to have Joey come up and help me. Joey's going to help us light our chalices this week. So go ahead and grab the candle and light it. Yep. So here at UUCS, we light 3 chalices. The first is for those here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. The second chalice we light on the left for our partner church and friends in Szymon-Falva, Transylvania, Romania, where the new minister just gave her first Sunday sermon. Pretty exciting. Oh, yeah, it worked. And the last chalice we light is for our children and youth, both in religious education and in the world at large. Nice. Thank you, Joey. That was great. Adapted from the Upanishads, we light these chalices to help us move from untruth to truth, to help us move from ignorance to wisdom, to help us move from animosity to love. We rededicate ourselves before this light to affirm and practice truth, wisdom, love, and freedom today and in all the days to come. Please join me in singing the flame into life.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Can I have everybody young or young at heart join me up front, please? Thank you. Today, we're reading a story called The Big Orange Splot. And there'll be pictures up here for you to read along, okay? Mr. Plumbeam lived on a street where all the houses were the same. He liked it that way. So did everyone else on Mr. Plumbeam's street. "This is a neat street," they would say. Then one day, a seagull flew over Mr. Plumbeam's house. He was carrying a can of bright orange paint. No one knows why. And he dropped the can. No one knows why. Right over Mr. Plumbeam's house. It made a big orange splot on Mr. Plumbeam's house. "Oh, too bad," everybody said. "Mr. Plumbeam will have to paint his house again." "I suppose I will," said Mr. Plumbeam. But he didn't paint his house right away. He looked at the big orange splot for a long time. Then he went about his business. The neighbors got tired of seeing that big orange splot. Someone said, "Mr. Plumbeam, we wish you'd get around to painting your house." "Okay," said Mr. Plumbeam. He got some blue paint and some white paint, and that night he got busy. He painted at night because it was cooler. When the paint was gone, the roof was blue. The walls were white, and the big orange splot was still there. Then he got some more paint. He got red paint, yellow paint, green paint, purple paint. In the morning, the other people on the street came out of their houses Their houses were all the same, but Mr. Plumbeam's house was like a rainbow. It was like a jungle. It was like an explosion. The next day, the people said, Plumbeam has gushed his mush, lost his marbles, and slipped his hawser. They decided they would pretend not to notice. Plumbeam has gone too far. This used to be a neat street. Plumbeam, what have you done to your house? The people shouted. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, Mr. Plumbeam said. The people went away. They asked the man who lived next door to Mr. Plumbeam to go and have a talk with him. Tell him that we all liked it here before he changed his house. Tell him that his house has to be the same as ours so we can have a neat street. The man went to see Mr. Plumbeam that evening. They sat under the palm trees, drinking lemonade and talking all night long. Early the next morning, the man went out to get lumber and rope and nails and paint. When the people came out of their houses, they saw a red and yellow ship next door to the house of Mr. Plumbeam. What have you done to your house? They shouted at the man. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, said the man, who had always loved ships. He's just like Plumbeam, the people said. He's got bees in his bonnet, bats in his belfry, and knots in his noodle. Then, one by one, they went to see Mr. Plumbeam late at night. They would sit under the palm trees and drink lemonade and talk about their dreams. And whenever anybody visited Mr. Plumbeam's house, the very next day, that person would set about changing his own house to fit his dreams. You've got a hot air balloon. Very nice. Beautiful. Yes. Oh, and a castle. Beautiful. Whenever a stranger came to the street of Mr. Plumbeam and his neighbors, the stranger would say, "This is not a neat street." Then all the people would say, "Our street is us, and we are it. Our street is where we like to be, and it looks like all our dreams." The end. Okay, we are going to have muffins with moms after the service today. There's some fun activities on the tables, get to know each other a little bit, have some yummy muffins, and enjoy Mother's Day, okay? If you can stand up in the center to create the love arch, we'll be on our way. Thank you.
Wherever you walk, walk in love. Wherever you walk, walk in peace. Wherever you walk, walk in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you. Wherever you walk, walk in love. Wherever you walk, walk in peace. Wherever you walk, walk in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you.
On this Mother's Day Sunday, let us pause and remember our own mother, that person whose symbiotic relationship we have had with no other person in our lifetime. Whether the relationship grew and was harmonious or tenuous, whether it was for a long time and is still going on or has been cut short, the relationship between mother and child is like no other. May we cherish it for how it has influenced our own lives. May we have compassion for ourselves and others, as we each navigate this unique and wondrous relationship in life and continuing on in death. And now, let us recall to mind all those wonderful women in our lives who have nurtured and cared for us and inspired us to be our best, who have comforted us, encouraged us along the way, who have listened without advising, and those who have shared the wisdom they've gained through life struggles. Whether the connection be through blood, love, or inspiration, let us be grateful for the influences these women have given us, and may we play it forward through our own support of ourselves and others. May we follow the path of compassion and gratitude in our lives.
Good morning, all. Once again, I'm Lorna Youngs. I'm with Lifelines Lay Ministry. There are no joys and concerns that have been entered into our online system. But if you wish to do so, just go to our homepage and click on Joys and Concerns, and that will take you right to the site where you can write out what your joy or concern is. The second way in which you can express your joy or concern is the black book that we have in the lobby, and I do have a couple of items from there. The first one is from Leslie Zeigen, and she again wants you to pray for Camille, 53, who has brain cancer and is dying. She's in hospice care. Leslie's known her since she was 4 years old in dance class with her own daughter, Laura. And we do have a joy from Jackie O'Malley. More relief than joy, actually. She and her hubba have bought a home better suited for a couple of retirees, but had not yet put their home on the market. Extremely stressful, worrisome time, but luck of the Iris still lives strong. For the first day, before anyone knew, a buyer came along. So congratulations to you all. Now, those of you who may not know, the Lifelines Lay Ministry helps Rick, the minister, with the community, with any concerns that people may have, that they need just a little extra care. And we also monitor how our people who are struggling a little bit are doing. And you can reach us by using the email, lifelineslayministry.com, or call the office. And finally, this is the second Sunday of the month, and on the second Sunday, we also have our Compassionate Connection. And those of you who would like just a little extra help, after the service, please come forward to the front, and then we will go into the minister's office, and Reverend Rick is here today, and we'll conduct the Compassionate Connection. Thank you very much.
You may remain seated for the pastoral hymn, 1069, in the teal hymnal. I'll sing it through once, and then you please join me. We'll sing it twice more. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I feel your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears.
Reverend Dorothy Mae Emerson, a Unitarian Universalist minister living 1943 to 2019, came here and spoke December 9th, 2018, about her new book at the time, Sea Change, The Unfinished Agenda of the 1960s. Earlier, though, in 2000, she had edited a book called Standing Before Us, Unitarian Universalist Women and Social Reform, 1776 to 1936. In the preface, she states, "By engaging with the women of the past, we hope to empower and inspire today's women and men to continue the work of creating a world of justice and peace for all." To quote excerpts from 3 of the many women who are in this book, here is Margaret Fuller, living 1810 to 1850, a transcendentalist Unitarian who wrote in 1848, "I believe at present women are the best helpers of one another. Let them think, let them act, till they know what they need. We only ask of men to remove arbitrary barriers. I believe it needs that woman show herself in her native dignity, to teach them how to aid her. If you ask me what offices they may fill, I reply, any. I think women need, especially at this juncture, a much greater range of occupation than they have to rouse their latent powers." Olympia Brown, living 1835 to 1926, was the first Universalist woman ordained by full denominational authority in 1863. She was a pioneer in opening the doors of theological schools to women. In 1920, a few days after women first voted, she preached a sermon titled The Opening Doors. She starts out, "It is now nearly 30 years since I resigned my pastorate in this church. That is a long time, and many things have happened. But the grandest thing has been the lifting up of the gates and the opening of the doors to the women of America. The future opens before them, fraught with great possibilities of noble achievement." And Clara Barton, living 1821 to 1912, was raised in a Universalist family, became the first woman to work in the U.S. Patent Office, and was known as heroine of the battlefield during the Civil War. She became one of the founding members of the American Red Cross and remained president until 1904. During a Memorial Day speech to the Grand Army of the Republic in 1879, she stated, "American women, how proud I am of you. How proud I've always been since those days to have been a woman. Abraham Lincoln said that without the help of the women, the rebellion could not have been put down, nor the country saved.
Well, happy Mother's Day, everybody. And I would like to ask a special blessing to all of you who identify as mothers. I hope you all take a minute today to show your appreciation and your love and for the support that your mothers or whoever acted in that role gave you throughout your lives. A couple of weeks ago, my own mother celebrated her 88th birthday. And although her 5'9" frame is now only 5'5" and largely confined to a wheelchair, her determination to make a difference in the world, especially the lives of women, is as strong as ever. Motherhood, by its purest definition, is unique to women. It is women who, with their bodies, nurture the unborn child. It is women who, usually with a lot of pain and hard work, bring each new life through their own bodies into the world. And it is women whose bodies are uniquely equipped to continue to feed and nurture the newborn until it has developed into an independent being. And it is women who have historically been responsible for the guidance of the young child in its early years. In the 1800s and even earlier, mothers had few legal rights. Children, especially sons, were considered to belong to the father. Should a woman become separated from her husband, even in a case of abuse or desertion, the father almost always retained rights to the children. Yet, women were expected to be the keepers of Americans' moral values. Women were seen as responsible for raising strong sons who would, in turn, elevate the nation. Then, in the early 1900s, Sigmund Freud came up with his theories of child development, and they didn't always paint women in a very good light. In fact, moms were almost always blamed and felt to be responsible for their children's problems. So for the first 70, 80 years or so of the last century, respect for moms, and by extension women, actually declined. Sadly, this was only exacerbated at times by women who were trying to push back against the roles they had been forced to play and unintentionally belittled their sisters for being just moms. Even in our churches, including the Unitarians, the Universalists, and the Unitarian Universalists, the contributions of women have historically been overlooked. If you're a longtime UUCS member, you're probably aware of a unique history in our own church and the thanks we owe to the Women's Alliance. The story goes that back in 1938 or 39, after the departure of the then minister under some sort of strange circumstances, the Salem Unitarian Fellowship was no more. However, the Women's Alliance did continue to meet. Now, whether or not any of these women were part of the 10 people needed to form the new congregation in 1949 depends on who you ask. But either way, the women of the Alliance kept the ideals and beliefs of Unitarianism alive in Salem. And we do know that there were women among the 10 people needed to form the new fellowship in 1949, which has become the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem that we are all now a part of. The UUCS Women's Alliance remains an independent affiliated ministry here at UUCS. The members, which now includes men, continues to be one of the backbones of this congregation. Unitarian Universalists have always been among the leaders in progressive religion and inclusion. Yet, even in our free faith movement, women have struggled to be heard and recognized. Shortly after the merger of Unitarians and Universalists in 1961, women's advocacy groups began forming in many churches and congregations. At the 1977 UU General Assembly, a resolution was passed that called upon all Unitarian Universalists to carefully examine their own religious beliefs and the extent to which these beliefs influence sex role stereotypes within their own families. I remember this very clearly because it made a really big impact on my own family. It urged the UUA Board of Trustees to encourage all aspects of the UUA to make every effort to put traditional assumptions aside, examine sexism inherent in religious literature, and join in encouraging others to examine religious and cultural attitudes toward women. At that time, in 1977, only 5% of UU clergy were women. It is estimated that today, across the major religions, 20% of clergy are women. Currently, women make up 57% of Unitarian Universalist clergy. I myself was raised by an outspoken Unitarian Universalist, agnostic, hippie, feminist, lay minister mother. Active in her UU congregation and social justice, she dragged me along to countless peace marches, rallies, meetings of any number of organizations which work to support and recognize the works of women, such as UU Women in Religion and the Unitarian Universalist Federation, Women's Federation, known as the UUWF. The UUWF was founded in 1963, just 2 years after the merger of Unitarians and Universalists. It was a merger of the Association of Universalist Women, which was founded in 1869, and the Alliance of Unitarian Women, which was founded in 1890. The UUWF works to advance justice for women and promote their spiritual growth. Like our own Women's Alliance, it is an independent organization and connected to the UUA only as an associate organization. In 1988, the UUWF launched the Clara Barton Sisterhood to honor women over 80 who are not famous, whose names are not included in a list of accomplished pioneering women. Their names do not grace the front of school buildings or library wings or streets or avenues. Yet their lives, like those of Clara Barton, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, or Susan B. Anthony, have been inspiring. Their love of justice, their service to others, and their wisdom has bettered their religious homes, their communities, and the wider world. There are now over 750 inductees into this sisterhood. These women acted as the backbone of their UU churches and congregations. Their great inner strength and resourcefulness strengthened their communities. They were pioneers of new ideas and processes, and they reached out to others to join them. They serve as role models for young women and girls, and probably a number of young men and boys as well. The UUWF website has collected short biographies of many of the sisters. What amazing lives these women led. Almost all were mothers, charged with the raising of their own families. Many held jobs outside the home as well, and yet they found time to support their spiritual homes. Their contributions included serving on boards and leading various committees, groups, and teams. Many were members and leaders in their congregation's Women's Alliance or other women's groups. They played the piano and the organ, they knit, they sewed, they created artworks and held bake sales. They comforted the grieving and decorated for special events. Some were lay ministers who performed weddings and child dedications and officiated at memorials. The vast majority were active in social pursuits, including the League of Women Voters, literacy campaigns, campaigns for peace, and fighting for equal rights. I am especially aware of one of these women who's been getting advice from our own Reverend Rick Davis. She's working to enlighten her congregation about the way the UUA is handling the right to freedom of the pulpit and the right of clergy and laity to express their opinions openly. My mother, Kathleen Dillon, was inducted into the Clara Barton Sisterhood this year. She's the first inductee from the Eugene Unitarian Universalist Church. But as proud as I am of my own mother, the event made me aware of the need to be mindful of the unique role of women, mothers, and girls in our spiritual homes. When I scanned the current list of team members, team leaders, board members, and staff for our congregation, I noticed that approximately 2/3 are women. Some are in roles that may have been traditionally thought of as men's roles, such as finance and facilities and board chair. I think that UUCS, its members, its friends, its staff should be proud that overall women are well represented and included in our many ministries. As women here at UUCS, I think most of us feel a sense of belonging and that we're welcome in leadership roles. Well done, us. One day, perhaps some of the amazing women of UUCS will be recognized and inducted into the Clara Barton Sisterhood. They say women hold up half the sky. And though we're not there yet, through the tireless work and determination of women and men who believe in fairness and social justice, women are moving closer to full recognition for their contributions to the world. Yes, there have been setbacks and some really big ones lately, and stumbling blocks have been put in place to halt the progress. What I'm hoping is that this will serve to bolster the determination of men and women bent on creating a fairer and more just world. Though the process of birth still remains unique to women, the role of mother has expanded greatly in this century. We now recognize that mothering can be and is provided to others by people of all ages, sexes, and genders. So, happy Mother's Day to all of you. I invite you to take a moment to sit back and relax and call to mind the women, mothers, girls in your life who played a really big role. The ones who nurtured, cared, supported, just were precious to your life. And when you feel like it, I'd like you to speak their name or whisper or shout as you feel the need. Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to everyone.
The most truly generous persons are those who give silently without hope of praise or reward. Carol Rai Brink. The Share the Plate recipient for May, Salem Harvest, embodies this idea. Salem Harvest is a nonprofit organization that connects farmers and background growers with volunteer pickers to harvest fruits and vegetables that would otherwise go to waste. Since 2010, more than 3 million pounds of fresh, locally grown fruits and vegetables have been donated by a cheerful army of 2,600 volunteers, making Salem Harvest the largest community harvesting organization in Oregon. In a state that has one of the nation's highest rates of childhood hunger, Salem Harvest volunteers and growers have the opportunity to provide direct support for thousands of families and individuals. So please donate to the Share the Plate recipient for the month of May, in addition to our regular support of the Marion Polk Food Share. For those of you in person, you may place donations for Marion Polk Food Share in the little red wagon, and you may place monetary donations in the bags that are going to be passed amongst you. For those of you online or later on in the week, you may please visit the website to donate that way. Thank you for maintaining the community of UUCS and for the wider community of Salem.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end. My sight as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
Thank you, Laura. It's nice to have you back with us doing our special music. And thank you, Barbara, for leading us in our hymn so well. And of course, Lorianne, thank you once again for being here to play the piano. That's great. Alrighty, next Sunday, Reverend Rick Davis will be here finding our voices. It's hard to speak up sometimes, yet if you don't, something important will be missing. Our liberal religious tradition encourages us to be true to ourselves and our own experiences and share our honest perspective. You're going to want to be here in person for this one. Also coming up, June 5th, is the Flower Communion Day. We're going to have a special guest speaker, but Reverend Rick will be here as well to lead us through the Flower Communion. And we are continuing our third year tradition. After 3 years, do you have to say tradition, or just is the assumption made that it's a tradition after 3 years? But we are sending in pictures of flowers, so please do so. Doc Hadley has a new idea of how to present it this year, which he's excited about. So please send in your pictures of flowers by June 23rd. No, May 23rd. Thank you. Don't mess up, Sarah. May 23rd. And send them to productionteam@uusalem.org. Also, be sure to check in today, if you haven't already, if you came in, to make sure that you are eligible to vote in the next Sunday's annual business meeting, which is happening right after service next week. If you didn't have a chance to check in at the desk, you can call the office if you want to make sure about that. That would be great. Besides that, read the newsletter, sign up for the Friday e-blasts, and check our website for different ways you can be involved in this community. Thank you. Oh, no, thank you. We have to go on, don't we, with the rest of the service. Janet, would you mind bringing up the social justice candle? Usually we're having to remind the minister, aren't we? This time they had to remind me. Janet will now light the social justice candle to symbolize the actions that we may take today and the days to come to sustain light and life in ourselves and in others. As she extinguishes the other chalices, these words by Hedewig, who is a 13th century female Flemish mystic who wrote about the divine. All things are too small to hold me. I am so vast. In the infinite, I reach for the uncreated. I have touched it. It undoes me wider than wide. Everything else is too narrow. You know this well, you who are also there. May we know and acknowledge the divine within ourselves and in our interactions with others. Thank you.
Our closing hymn is 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. We'll sing it through twice. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
If you feel comfortable, please join hands with your friends, neighbors, or acknowledge them as we say our closing words. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.